Hey, what's up you guys? It's Bloody Jacob to bring you my first video on Syfy's Z Nation. And I originally was not planning on doing any videos on the show because upon initial viewing of the first couple episodes or so and of seeing the previews, I originally was making fun of it for basically just being a Horror Man's version of The Walking Dead, or a ripoff, basically. But I have definitely changed my mind about it, for the most part at least. I mean, it still borrows things from The Walking Dead, and, certain things are meant to remind you of it, I think. But, really, though, it's turned out to be, it's really came into its own more as a show, especially in these past few episodes. I really don't feel like it's trying to be The Walking Dead anymore too much. I really think it's been doing a decent mix of drama, comedy, over-the-top action. It's definitely a lot less realistic than The Walking Dead, but I think you can watch both of these shows, and enjoy them for different reasons. So really, I don't think you should be comparing them left and right anymore, because they're really not that similar when you think about it. And really, a few of these episodes recently have been pretty good, actually. I think starting with the third episode, the third episode, Philly Feast, I think that's when it started getting pretty decent. And then, I don't remember too much about Full Metal Zombie right off the top of my head, but if I read about it, I'm sure I'd remember it. And then Home Sweet Zombie, that was the one with the Zombie-nado. They even make a Sharknado reference in there, of course, being on Syfy. It's definitely of higher quality than that, for sure. And Resurrection Z, the latest episode, was really actually very solid. So, yeah, it's this isn't like a specific review for any particular episode. I just wanted to sort of like give my thoughts on the show so far, and say that I've actually grown to enjoy it quite a bit. I mean, like I said, it's no Walking Dead, but I don't think it's trying to be. I think if you enjoy a classic B-movie zombie horror film, or just are a fan of zombies in general, I think you can probably find some entertainment out of the show. The effects are decent, they're not like horrible, they're not nearly as bad as Sharknado, but they're definitely not close to the level of The Walking Dead. But most of the zombies move pretty fast in the show, so you don't really have too much time to really look at it. The action is aplenty, and it's pretty entertaining, actually, for the most part. And the characters have become pretty likable, at least a couple of them. So yeah, I definitely think you can find enjoyment out of the show if you like zombie movies, at the very least. Another thing about Home Sweet Zombie, the one with the Zombie-nado, we got some good development out of Roberta Warren. With her looking for her husband, and then we sort of felt like we were like building a bit of a connection, more of a connection with her and Garnett. But of course, if you've seen the last episode, spoilers, Resurrection Z, you'll know that Sergeant Charles Garnett is not with us anymore. That's another big thing I wanted to talk about in this video. So, like, right in the first episode, beforehand, they had been building up Lieutenant Mark Hammond, the black guy you've seen in the original previews. Seemed like they were building him up as the lead for the show. And then he was killed by a zombie baby and a female zombie in the first episode. So, that was surprising, but, I get that first, statement, shock, oh, no one's safe, let's set that up right away. But right after that, they were building up Tom Everett Scott's Sergeant Charles Garnett as our lead. They did that for quite a few episodes, right up until the sixth one, Resurrection Z, which we talked about. And, like, this episode had to deal with Jacob and his religious followers. They basically had the idea that when the dead turn and come back as zombies, they're like just resurrected and they're not any bad or anything like that. And they basically tie these zombies down and make them watch their sermons or whatever they're doing, their service. And they had like a cult and they're trying to get into this fenced off safe area which was controlled by a man Garnett had previously saved at some point prior to the series. And they just eventually infiltrated the area. And they would cut their own throats and then turn to zombies, so they would spread it a lot quicker throughout the area, the little safe zone. And eventually it led to Garnett and the rest of them being captured, and really, give me a second. Let me see if I can find something here. Alright, and eventually they have them bound pretty much, with their hands tied behind their back, and Jacob's basically about to kill one of them, or all of them pretty much, and Garnett kind of stands up for all of them in the area, and he says this was a safe place, and basically until they came in and wrecked the whole thing. And yeah, the guy actually showed some decent acting throughout this scene here. Tom Everett Scott did. And basically he takes a bullet for the team, really. He's about to get his throat slit, but 10K interrupts it and then it stops and stuff like that. But eventually it leads to things breaking out into chaos, and Jacob fires a shot. It's he's shooting at Murphy, and Murphy's the one who's supposed to be immune to the Z virus, but of course he's obviously been showing the slow, steady signs of turning, except he hasn't yet, so there's probably going to be more about that later. But Murphy almost bailed the group out of it by saying he's the Messiah because he was bitten 8 or so times and he hasn't turned. Then he actually put his finger in the zombie's mouth and almost down its throat, and it wanted to attack him. And all the zombies are calm when they're around him and stuff like that, or at least when they're directly interacting with him. So Jacob was about to, and this had been like the whole group's point. They were trying to get Murphy to California supposedly so they could take a sample of his blood and cure this thing basically. But of course it doesn't really work out that way. Well, Murphy's still alive, but that's because when Jacob shoots the bolt, shoots the gun, Garnett actually dives in front of it and takes the bullet right in the chest. Yeah, that was, again, it's only been 6 episodes, so I wasn't really, overly upset by it, but I gotta admit I was a little surprised that they killed off Garnett here in the 6th episode, because, he had been built up as a main character, and it had only been 6 episodes since the other guy who he thought was the main character was killed off. So I at least thought Garnett would be sticking around for a few seasons. It seemed like they were building him that way, because they had been showing that he and Roberta were having more of a romance, and they actually were starting to have sex in this episode. At least Garnett got between her legs anyway, but anyway, not enough about that for now. But so it felt like they were really building something up between them, and really they definitely have the most chemistry out of the characters in the group, Roberta and Garnett. And actually I like Garnett. I found him pretty likable, a strong leader. Some people say he looks a little bit like Rick, which he sort of does because of the shorter hair and the beard. But really though, he's from the National Guard, and Rick never had that background. He was a cop, but then again they could have just been basing it off of him anyway. But either way, he wasn't exactly like Rick, and I felt like they were building up pretty well. And basically Roberta breaks down, and she wants to shoot him before he turns. She doesn't want him to turn, but basically they have to get out of there. They don't have time, although just a quick shot to the head I don't think it would have taken too much time there, guy. But basically they get a safe distance, and Roberta pulls out 10K sniper rifle and basically aims at Garnett from a distance, and she shoots him in the head, because he was a zombie at that point. and he was basically being herded by Jacob and his followers, so he would have been forced to watch whatever they were doing as a zombie, which is, an awful favor for someone as good as he was. So, of course, she says, "Charles Garnett, I give you mercy," then she shoots him and puts him down. Which was surprising. Like I said before, it's still surprising they kill off guys that they feel like, or characters in general that you feel like they've been building up as a lead. And I really feel like it was almost a waste, because like I said, they've been building all that up and they just kill them in the 6th episode, not even the finale. So, I admit I feel like characters are a lot less safe. It has the right effect, I think, that they were trying to go for, which they have going right now. But I do think they probably should have let Garnett survive, even though it was shocking and made for some of the best scenes in the series so far. Probably the best scenes in the series, with his sacrifice. Him telling her, Roberta, he loves her before he dies, of course, and she loves him too. Then he urged her to go, so at least that was touching. And plus, he went out like a hero, not just being torn apart by some zombie baby. So he went out in a little bit of a more honorable way. So, again, the death was well done, and it definitely made for some of the best scenes in the series. But I just feel like it was a waste. But the rest of the episode was well done. I liked Garnett and Warren's chemistry, and the Jacob's followers thing. It's kind of like the Philly Feast thing, where they only had villains for one episode. But those were over the top religious nuts, but they were still fun. I guess it's a fun show. They were all right, but it would have been interesting to keep Garnett around, and I'm sure he had plenty of other stories in his background they could have explored, but I guess not. Now I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a hole in the group, because my favorite characters now are probably Murphy. It seems like he's really coming around as a character, or at least more is being revealed about him, or at least where he's at, and Addie is probably my other favorite character now that Garnett's gone. She's the redhead with the Z-Whacker, I think it is. That bat with the spikes on it. She's kind of fun. And, she's also the one that Citizen Z is obsessed over. And, Citizen Z is the guy from Breaking Bad, DJ Qualls. He's in Alaska or Antarctica, I forget which one it is. And he's all alone because the plane left him behind, then it crashed anyway. So he's down there with a husky he found. So he's all right. He was better. He's been better in the last couple episodes. So overall, I just want to talk about Garnett's death, and I think that it was a waste. But it was surprising. I'll give them that. So overall, I think Z Nation's a show worth checking out if you like zombie movies. Just don't expect it to be as serious or realistic as The Walking Dead is. Just expect like a fun, over-the-top zombie show that actually can mix in some decent drama, and just be a bloody fun show to watch if you're a fan of the genre. So I definitely recommend checking it out. It also mixes in comedy, of course, like I said. And I just thought I'd do a quick video giving my thoughts on that. I'll still be tuning in despite my disappointment in Garnett's death. But I'll catch you guys next time, and peace. Peace. Oh, and I may be reviewing each episode now, at least until the end of the season. We shall see. That's kind of tentative. But,